Good morning and welcome to another edition of Crystal Educational Talk Show. We are here to enhance and promote quality education in the lives of our students and society at large. Once again, my name is Ken.
My name is John. Today we have guests in our studio. In today's episode, actually, it's featuring Mr. Benjamin, Miss Linda, and Mr. Elias. They'll be with us from this time to the end, so make sure you stick and stay right there and watch this episode to the end.
Welcome, gentlemen. As we all know that quality education cannot be overwritten in any society. Education also plays a very vital role for development of any economy, of course, be it formal education or informal. But this aspect we're trying to talk about formal education. But we've actually identified some problems that we think may be that the contribute factors which is not enhancing the quality performance of our students. So one of those questions which I will now direct to you starting from Mr. Ben to talk from this perspective. What do you think as a parent, parental involvement, how does it affect, how does it contribute to the student?
In other words, he's like, what should parents do, or how can parents get involved into students' academic performances? What they should do? What do you think is the best thing that they can do, in your own opinions?
Yeah, but my own opinion is, if I take it from my perspective as a parent, it is parents. Actually, if parents try to involve himself in a child's education, it is in a manner of assisting the child in all sorts of studies that he's doing, and also to minimize other side effects of social media, which is actually now redirecting the children's minds from the education, because children pay more attention or more time on social media rather than on their education. And as far as we know that children have their rights, which also now became so difficult for parents to involve, but as a parent it is a must.
It's a must.
To involve in the education of a child.
Of course. To that regard, Miss Linda, what would you say? He said children or students have rights. So I'm going to ask you this question. There was a statement that came out, it was actually all over social media, that says, this is a nation ruled by kids, not parents. What would you say to that? Or how do you actually understand that?
I understand that part in the context that we as parents, we fear our kids. We fear our kids in the context that we can't discipline them. Instead of disciplining them, we are buying their love. We are a nation of educated parents, academically educated, we are well educated, and we thrive to better us. In this context, we tend to lose time and knowledge or time that we also need to invest in our kids. By investing time in our kids, I mean surely that we must make time to read with our kids. We must make time to read with our kids. Even if a child is in primary school or is in kindergarten, if from the word go, we make time that to ask that 3-year-old or 4-year-old or 6-year-old of mine, what did you do in class today? By then we create a culture of doing that throughout the child's education. Even though a parent can't read, even a parent is uneducated, by looking at pictures, I can tell my child a story.
Of course.
That child will lay a culture of to love reading. That child can also come from school or from kindergarten and come tell me a story by looking at the illustrations of the book. The other thing is, we must learn to do homework with our kids. We must make homework time a pleasure time, but not an enforcement. When a child is having homework, he or she is going to write a dictation tomorrow. The old cultural way of sitting, letting that child sitting by a table and just recite these words. While me as a mother, I'm working, I can take that book and say, okay, Maria, spell sitting for me.
Yes.
We are in the setup of a kitchen. Maria is spelling sitting for me while I'm busy cooking. It's in a form of play. While I'm bathing Maria, Maria can do the same thing. When Maria is in a classroom, she can remember, I was with mommy in the kitchen. What was I saying? Okay, I was spelling it. So it's like a video playing over in Maria's mind.
Very true, very true. What do you say, Mr. Elia?
To my point, I understand education is the key of life. As we are the parent, we must see or to go through to the assignment or the project that they've been given to school,
Of course.
to see how the performance of our child, they are made it or not. We must start encouraging our child. We see or we know the background of our child. We can tell what is the background of our child. As we
Okay, thank you. I think Mr. Ben will actually want to chip in something.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I also wanted to add is this. Concerning parents
Okay.
and concerning the curriculums of the schools.
Right.
You understand? Some parents are not well educated, and even some schools or primary schools. You know, in our olden days, we started with alphabetical order, which is ABC.
ABC, yes.
But now some primary schools from grade 0, they start with this phonics alphabet, which also makes difficult for a parent to assist the child, because the parent was not taught in K. You understand? But the parents only were taught in ABC.
ABC.
So which also makes it difficult for a parent to assist the child. If a parent must also be involved in the curriculum of the education by the ministry, or being given that providence to be taught, this is how you shall train your child, because this is the new method of how a child must start to read. You understand?
So what you are trying to say is the ministry should include parents in the curriculum.
Also, just to tell the parents or to train them. Because if you don't train someone, it will be difficult for a parent to, because the child has been taught. You say to a child, this is A, and the child says, Mommy, that is not A, that is A. Because it's a phonic sounds.
You are right.
Now, phonic sounds makes also, it has an impact when a child reaches the age of, when he reaches at grade 2 or grade 1. It becomes difficult for a child to comprehend reading, because he must first look for the sound, the phonic sound, in order to spell out the word or to read the word. Whereby the parents is not yet acquainted with it. You see? So for the parent to be involved, it is also better for the school principals to make a training for the parents, to assist the kids in their proper curriculum, which actually the school wants.
You are right.
But thank you very much, sir. But I would quickly like to direct this question to Ms. Linda. While we were growing up down there, those olden days, our great-grandmother, they never went to school. And if you look back then, education back then was still very solid, and it even produced some provisions of people with intellectual wisdom. So how can we not relate this, that back then with the education system, the parents, they were not even reading, they didn't go to, they are not that educated to this dispensation we're talking about. Still, education was still far better then. What's your intake based on what you just said?
I think the reason why in the olden days,
Yes.
we had family structures, very solid family structures. Nowadays, it's non-existent. Nowadays, it's non-existent. To the extent that our parents, we are rushing. We are rushing past our kids.
How?
In the olden days, it's maybe there's a sitting room, one sitting room for everybody. This certain time, 8 o'clock, it's dinner time, and after dinner, it's Bible reading or whatever, and it's sleeping. Nowadays, we live past each other.
Of course.
We live past each other as parents. My son, for instance, have his own room. Knock before you come in. And I, as a parent, I would adhere, which is wrong in the first place. Dinner is ready. Put my food in the microwave. I would adhere, which is wrong. I'm also guilty of this. That's why I'm saying we lack family structure. And going back to illiteracy, grade 1, nowadays we have moved, so the world have evolved. We have preschools, we have kindergartens. We pay huge amounts of money thinking that our kids are being put in the correct direction. So which means, I'm reasoning, I'm paying 2,000 for my preschool child. When that child comes home, that bag or whatever is put in the room, I don't even care, because I feel I'm paying A to look after my child, to make sure that everything is okay, which is also wrong. A is just doing his or her job because she's getting paid. From 5, it's my duty to come home, open that bag, and look what's inside. What did you guys do today? Okay. For a week or 2, nothing is going on. It's my duty as a parent to make time. To make time from my busy schedule to go see teacher who and ask, why is this happening? Then there, teacher A can tell me that no, Maria is not good. Maria is struggling with this. Maria is shy. Maria is what? Then we can tackle the problem from there. Now, we leave all these problems. We don't do all these things. Grooming from the word go. This child is grade 8, high school. 1,000 kids, 1,000 teachers. That child is confused. That's
a point. That's a point.
I, as a parent, will now say, no, starting scolding, accusive words, whatever. But I don't go back to the crowd. That why are you not taking part in this? If I'm shouting, the child will close down. Where is this child going to? Ask friends, wrong information. That's where we have teenagers or whoever that is rebelling. Because that child will feel, even if I go home with this test that I failed, what would my mom do? She will just shout. She will call Auntie who. And that I'm sitting in the sitting room, actually in the kitchen, I'm telling Auntie who.
Yes. With that regard, thank you, Miss Linda. Right now, we are taking a short break. We'll be right back. Just in a few seconds. Make sure you sit there. Have coffee on your side or water. We'll be back. Okay.
Yes, welcome back from the break. I'm very pretty sure you quite get 1 or 2 informations that we have actually discussed so far regarding solutions that could enhance and promote quality education in our society. We're now back again to the studio. Let's continue from where we left. Thank you for being with us, our guest. Now, the other question that I want us to actually briefly talk about, because we all know we've actually identified this problem, we're just trying to talk about the solutions. Not all these problems now, because everyone has been talking about the problem. Now the solution now. And one of the major solutions that we actually consider is social media influence, which has actually contributed to kids' failure performances. So, let me start from Miss Linda, then back to Mr. Ben. How do you think social media has affected our kids, and what is the solution that could be provided? Over to you.
Social media have influenced our kid to a very big extent, to the extent that it's a very good platform, but used in wrong ways. There is apps out there that are very informative, that are very educative, but our kids don't go to these sites. And the sites that they are frequently visited, or the sites that they belong to, have caused this imaginary life of stars that they really feel like they should belong to these stars. The way stars are treated, for instance, the programs that are aired on E24, wherever, the way these people are living have created a very fake image in our kids, and illusions, to the extent that I want to be like who. But they don't go back and make and do research. How did this person reach this stage? Does this person have any degrees? Does he have any formal education? Does he have anyone? They don't dig there. They don't go back down and go dig. They just want to live a glamorous life on the expenses of their parents or whoever. But you can have that glamorous life once you have your education, because education is something that nobody can take away from you. Securities can surround you, an army can surround you. They cannot take away your education. And we as parents, the type of phones and whatever we are giving to our kids, it's a getaway to all these worlds, to this fake world that our kids are living in, which is wrong. Mommy, I have an assignment about how lions live. Go Google. Instead of let's Google or let's go to the library. Because we had schools kids that were having assignments, given assignments, and they were coming to the library looking for books because they said they would be penalized if the information they are having is from the internet. So, which means kids are forced to go read. You take a book or encyclopedia, you sit and read and choose the information that is relevant to your topic.
Thank you so much, man. Let me just quickly hear from Ms. Elias. What, on your perspective,
What's your point on
social media and the solution to that?
Yeah, really, social media is really affected our society, especially in Namibia. So, social media is something that has been brought up here in Namibia, and special, it's affected to the parent and the children. Instead of the parent to let the children to study, the parent is also watching.
Okay. Mr. Bay, let's quickly say something.
Yeah,
The effect and the solution to social media.
The solution that I may suggest is, social media, a school have got a syllabus.
Okay.
And the school consists of syllabus. And there is a formula that every student or child must follow. But like she mentioned, we also as parents, if the governance in the house is poor or weak, then the child's strength also became weak. We know children have received their rights, but as a parent, you are the providence of that child. It is your right to say to your child, since that I've given you this expensive smartphone or whatever, I don't see that you are no more or you are not doing any research concerning your schoolwork. All that I see is you are involved in social media, by Facebook all the day. So I will actually take away the phone until you finish your grade 12 or grade 11, which is the new curriculum, of course. Because it is the parents that also contribute to the child's failure. The more you said, I have to respect my child. Sometimes you find parents that says, the things that I did not enjoy when I was young, let it be the providence of my children. Let me give whatsoever my child desires. Now you have different type of children. You have academic child, because all of the children are not academic. Some are business-minded, and for them schoolwork becomes irritating them, because his mind is not an academic. But as a teacher, you can evaluate and see, this guy, which I'm saying, cannot perform, is not an academic. You understand? And later you will try to tell him, do for me this with hands. Then you will say he's proper. Then you can say, this guy is academic. This guy is not academic. This is a business guy. Or He is somebody that can work with hands. But the most contributing factors are also from parents. Like she mentioned, my daughter likes to sit on other these celebrities. And I will ask her now, you are just watching celebrities. No, I want to be like that lady. And I said, but it took her years and times to reach that position. And you, what are you doing? You just want to live the image of other person rather than coming back to your reality. You understand? So we as parents, we must also look on it. Because when we give our smartphones or buy them smartphones, nowadays kids involved in relationships also. And when a child is in relationship, her schoolwork,
it's a big problem.
Yeah, is suffering. You understand? It's because it's now, the mind is emotionally divided. The school needs its attention here, the boyfriend needs its attention here.
Of course.
Those are also things that I may think we as parents must actually solve the problem by saying, no, you will not get a cell phone. Pay your attention once to your schoolwork, school books. Focus on your schoolwork, because if you don't focus, you will miss the mark.
Thank you so much. You've really talked extensively well on social media influence and the waste solution. One of the solutions you actually was talking about, John, was the activeness. It still go back to activeness of parents, involvement, and we should not over pamper our kids.
Shouldn't give them what they want.
It's not that we are not giving them, they should not give them freedom, but that thing should be checked, like checkmate, to some extent. So at least our kids will not abuse the privilege and the time we're giving them. Or what do you think?
I would not like to cut you very short. I would just want to give a short background of my history. Actually, my parents, where I'm from, deep in the village. I remember when I failed grade 8 April, and my dad had to register me second term in the hostel. As an encouragement, he gave me only $5 for me to go back to the hostel. I see kids here in the city, they are being given money like $1,000 during out weekends and so forth. My dad taught me a lesson to give me $5. With that, leads to the next question. So, Miss Linda, how would you compare kids in the rural and urban, or let's say students in the rural and urban, the performances, the teaching methods, and just the education system?
Why? Because we observe that kids in the rural, they perform excellently well.
Yes.
Compared to kids
in the city.
What is the problem? Where did we get it wrong in our society?
I would say kids in the rural areas have a clear picture of what they want to do in future, or in their education, or what they want to change about their lives. They have an objective. For instance, let me make an example. A child living on a farm or on a village who have to walk 10-15 kilometers every day from and back to school. That child is passing the road every day.
Every day.
People in their cars, friends being dropped off by their parents. The picture that child is having in his or her mind. That child is thinking, come rain or shine, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to finish my grade 12, move to the city, and also buy a car, so that me and my granny can have a decent life. Or the neighbors have TV or electricity, the things that are lacking. Those kids maybe are studying towards providing what's lacking in my life now. On the other hand, our kids in the cities, what are their objectives? My father is a businessman. My mother is well educated. My school allowance is $100 per day or per week. I have my own bedroom. There is a TV, there is Wi-Fi, there is a swimming pool. I can open the fridge, everything is there. So this child mentality is whatever, I'm well taken care of. Why should I study? There's no competition. There's no, and the teaching methods with rural and private and urban, I don't know. But I think it's also competition minded. the schools in the village are competing against the schools in the city because they also want to have students that are performing. So it's competition based. Kids in rural areas are also competing among themselves unintentionally. In cities, I don't think there is competitions at all. Whatever if she failed, because your child, my child failed first term. Do I do anything about it? I would still give money to that child to go to school. Still.
By encouragement.
The report I did, Mommy, I don't know where is my report. Fine. It's discipline and strictness. We are afraid to be strict because we have a nation of kids that nowadays kids sulking, lock themselves in their room, so I'm afraid. My child would lock himself. Whose room, whose house, I will break down the door. I'm going to replace it. So strict discipline, it's lacking in the cities. The child on a village they have discipline. I must do this, I must do this, I must do this because I'm living in my career. And I must do this.
Mr. Bent, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, you know, what I also have to say, the differences between the kids in the city and the kids in the village. It's two different things, because the ones that are in the city are mostly exposed to certain activities and privileges. Now the other one on the village is not mostly exposed and they don't have privileges, but what they are having is actually the environment they are growing up. If they see their granny is a poor granny, and the kid also receive from the granny motivation speech,
Of course.
which motivates it by telling them, my child, you know where we are staying and we are suffering. There are days that we go to bed without food. Be a better person. And that motivates the child. But the kids in the city, they are not motivated. They live luxurious life. They don't see danger. They don't go through problems. But others are facing problems. The roof is leaking when it is raining time. And these are the things that actually motivates the child to pay more attention. To say, no, let me not redirect my mind from education. Let me put it as a focus on it till I became a better person. To drag out my parents from this poverty. You understand?
Yes.
That is a motivation. Motivation from parents to the child is a very important solution. If you motivate a child, tell the child your weaknesses. I should have reached this level. I want you to take target for that level. I should have been the CEO. Now I could not have made it, but I think you can make it. A motivation. It also enhances the child to accept or to pursue that plan.
Of course. If I'm not cutting it short, Mr. John, what they just shared now, part of motivation, it now makes me remember way back then. My own father, biological father that gave back to me, would sit me down whenever we're offended. Would sit me down and say, kids, listen, I'm not supposed to be in this level I am now. I'm supposed to be in this particular level. In fact, I'm supposed to be like a minister. But look at the level I am, even though we're still tangled. So, like he said, I tell me, motivation plays the vital role. That will not steer my anger, not in negativity, but in positivity to drive me towards what I want to achieve. Because I remember myself, okay, Papa, I will make you proud. Let me say, because there's this lack of motivation. And if there's no motivation from the parent to the kid, what motivate? What are they doing? But if I already have everything in slipper food, I remember that time to when we were sleeping there, rain used to fall and there's the passion of the room there that the water. These are practical examples that must happen to me that you used to teach. So this is what I try to say. See, motivation also plays a vital role. That's how this platform want to use to educate the kids out there, the parents out there. So motivation is also part of. I think it's very essential. What do you think about that?
You are right. In that regard, I would like to add a point to what you guys have said. Actually, we did a field study last week. And I got to understand that parents in the city, they take their kids to private tutors, private after class studies or whatsoever. See, where they go, they have homeworks, they go to after class to somebody, a private tutor, and then they get an extra homework again. When they come home, they are very tired, they have no time to go through their books. But when you compare to students in the village or students in rural areas, if you go around 8 p.m. at their schools or in hostels, those kids are in classes. They have evening studies, not evening classes, evening studies. They are revising their work. But here, 8 p.m., you find kids are in clubs, kids are at a show, kids, they just don't have time. They are 24/7 on screen. They are watching TV. Their mother comes, their father comes, they just say hi and then off they go. Yes. With that, what do you say, Mr. Elia? What do you think about that? Rural and urban education.
Rural education, it becomes very difficult to the children. Especially you go deep in the village. When they from school they go home, they end up not even studying. They go home, there is no food. There is no way they can find the help. That it encourages the children to study, to go and help their parents where they are struggling, and come to the city. City education, it is easy. Because I say it's easy. They go to school, the children, they go to school, they come back, everything is already provided. They have time to study. They stay in a light house, but anytime they can pick up their book and read.
But are they using those privileges? Are they using it to their advantages?
Yes.
Like most of them, because if you compare like the academic performances of the two areas that we have picked, rural and urban, you see that kids in the city fail most because they have everything provided, but yet they cannot use it. But what do you think if we could take all these things and take it to the villages? How would you compare? Do you think kids in the village are going to accelerate more higher, let's say 100% compared to these ones in the city, if they were to be given the same opportunities, the same everything? Be it lights, be it the libraries. Some schools even are far away, they don't have libraries. Yes. Miss Linda, what do you say?
I would say kids in the city, I'm sorry if I would offend somebody, but they are lazy. They like to be spoon-fed. Me as a parents will knock off at 5. They have all these electronics at their houses. Each child will tell their mother at 8 o'clock, I have homework, I have an assignment. No problem, my son. On the internet, print, paste everything. Did that child read that assignment? No. But the kid, and that's precisely what I said. They come to the library just for internet use. If you tell them that same topic that you are looking for, we have a lot of books, they would walk out of the library because you won't give them internet access. That's the problem. Now, I'm saying if my child is disrespectful towards me at home, I would never expect that child to respect anybody outside the house.
Charity begins at home.
Charity begins at home. And that's where motivation comes in. That child is not motivated. That child would say, okay, fine, we have internet at home. Let's go brag. That is the sentiment. We are breeding a culture of laziness. That's why during exam time, that child is lazy to read one chapter. That child have 100 points in the assignment. The same assignment come in the exam as a text.
Of course.
The child will get 20%. Why? Because I have done everything. I have given, here my child, I have pasted everything. Tomorrow morning, yes teacher, I'm done with my assignment.
Copy and paste.
Yes. And in the same breath, the tutors and daycare centers that he have mentioned, they exist to help and enhance our kids' performances. It's where the words come, the sentiment comes in. Not everybody is academically good. Why are you failing my child? This child is good in woodwork. That's where our VTCs are supposed to come in. This child is good in cooking. She loves cooking at home. She's happy when she's in the kitchen. That's where our home economics subjects should come in. This kind of subject. Now we have this culture, this norm of mathematics, physical science, what. Not everybody is a mathematician. Not everybody is a doctor. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. All these people need wood. A plumber. If you are a plumber, you are a carpenter, you are a chef, you are a tiler. This is the jobs that would never be phased out. That would never be overcrowded.
Very right.
Accountants, doctors, you know, accountants, HR, there are some fields of education that are overcrowded already. But because my neighbor's child is a chartered accountant, I want my child to be a chartered accountant. That chartered accountant could benefit from my son who is a builder.
Of course.
From the next door son who is a plumber. From the next door son who is an electrician. It's a circle. We all need each other. We all should respect each other and we should motivate each other. My son, you are very good with your head. Blue collar jobs would never get out of fish. Never. Ever. We should train our kids and minds to go in the industry of blue collar jobs. There you would be in that industry for 10 years or 5 years, then you will start your work. It's employment creation. You will be a tiler at a company for 3 years. The 4th year, you have your own place, even small, you will employ 2 people. You will train them. An accountant won't train is somebody with grade 0.
Zero, of course.
You will take a person who's washing cars and tell them, okay, this style here. Within a month, you have somebody who is uneducated, so forth, but who is doing something. That person can't read and write, but that person is looking at what you are doing and it's doing the same. It's copying what you are doing with your hands.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Ben wants to say something?
Yeah, what I actually wanted to add is also, if you look at this life in city, it is also the mandate of a parent. You know, sometimes birds of same feathers flock together. But we have when we have children that actually involve also themselves with kids that don't have vision.
Association.
Or a vision for life.
Not association.
Yeah, you understand? And this also have an impact on a child. So as a parent, you must also look at these things and say, check whether this friend of my child has he got a vision. Because here the kids, they're exposed to many things. At schools, they find kids that are using drugs. In the rural areas, it's much difficult because there, it's not like here. Here, everything is exposed. Happily doubly. They smoke. Yeah, those are the things. And I've seen certain parents, even parents, they are smoking that happily doubly
Together at home.
with their kids.
Of course.
And you understand, what would you suggest? A kid just grew up the way the parents are. If I'm a smoker in the house, my small girl will also try to put sticky in the mouth because it's what she sees from her father. But if she does not see the father is smoking, you will never find smokers, drunkards. You understand? Because kids learn from the parents.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I think you've actually talked a lot about this. Like you say, we are trying this platform to. It's an educational platform to educate and to inform and to transform and to reinform those, because like we all know, you cannot give what you don't have. So, and we want to start saying that most of the things that actually been happening started from the root. And if the root is not taken care of, it will give out to bad fruit. So with this few that we've had, we'll be back for the last episode. Stay tuned. Don't forget, quality education begins with me. That's our slogan. Quality education begins with me. Individual.
Welcome back to the next one. So this is just a conclusion part that we're going to do with our guests in the studio. Make sure you still glow up on your TV and lead us to the conclusion.
Yes, I'm very, very sure that our viewers have actually been informed about a lot of things. But to our guests, thanks so much. But just to recap and to round everything up, just the summary of everything, just to say the solution that you think the government can do, the parent and the society at large, just in a summary, what do you think the solution can, how can the government come in? How do you think the parents actually come in, which is actually address some, and the society at large, which we play a vital role?
In
How do we, 3-4
sentences
just to wrap everything up? Mr. Ben, please, you can start with that.
Let's see first that.
Okay, you say
Discipline, commitment, time, love, and dedication and hard work.
Say again?
Commitment, love, time, dedication, and hard work, and discipline. That's all I can say.
Mr. Elia, what would you say? In 3-4 words or sentences.
The government, parents, the school, they must come together.
Work together.
And to my side, I would say it is also much better that God must be first in every phase of the life. If it could be good if religious studies also be reinstated at schools, where children must have morals. Because morality is a very biggest impact on a child's life. Is where a child starts to find its roots. Who is who and who needs what respect. So if we cut out God also from our society, then we are the weakest generation that will ever live.
God. You see?
Yes, to my side, I would say thank you all for coming in, and we really enjoyed having you in our studio. So we are looking forward to see you again on our next episode. Please, if you feel like you haven't said enough, get onto our social media, comment or add on, please. We really thank you for coming through.
Before I
Close the chapter.
I will leave my viewer with just one quote. What you do with your time will actually tell you if you're successful or not. So the question is what are you doing with your time
Right now.
Thank you for watching us. Always stay tuned to all our social media, as my colleagues say. And don't forget, we said our motto is quality education begins with me. Thank you.